Their plan looked perfect because it relied on one assumption. The person they targeted would keep reacting the same way they always had. Predictable. Emotional. Easy to push around. That pattern kept the planners confident. They believed everything would unfold in their favor because they had seen the same behaviors repeatedly. What they never prepared for was the moment the pattern changed. One calm decision, one unexpected shift, one refusal to play the same role. That single move broke their entire structure. When someone changes their response, every strategy built on old habits collapses. It wasn't magic. It wasn't revenge. It was maturity. And maturity is the trick people fear most because it cannot be controlled. Everything started unraveling the moment your energy stopped feeding their intentions. Their plan depended on reactions. Without those reactions, their confidence began to crack. People who manipulate always build their strategy on emotional chaos. When the person they're targeting stops giving emotion, the manipulator loses their power source. That shift exposes how much of their confidence was built on false control. The trick wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. It was the simple choice to stop engaging. That one choice showed everyone who truly held strength in the situation. The planners expected fights, explanations, or apologies. They expected confusion or desperation. They never expected silence backed with self-respect. Silence is frightening to people who rely on noise. Noise keeps their lies alive. Noise blinds others from seeing the truth. When silence arrives, the truth stands alone. Suddenly their stories sounded empty. Their confidence sounded forced. Their behavior looked exaggerated. Your absence of aggression became a spotlight, and under that spotlight, their plan looked fragile. The trick they feared was the one they never thought you would use, refusing to join their chaos. Distance added pressure they weren't ready for. Emotional distance is more powerful than confrontation because it removes the fuel that keeps manipulation alive. Once you stepped back, their plan started suffocating on its own. They couldn't study your reactions. They couldn't predict your next move. They couldn't twist your words because you gave them none. Distance made them panic. People who depend on control panic when their target stops responding in predictable ways. This is why your single move destroyed their confidence. The trick was not distance itself. It was the piece behind it. The planners wanted you involved because involvement makes people vulnerable. Staying involved means handing over emotional control. Your trick was choosing not to be pulled into their world. You created space to think, reflect, and understand what was really happening. That space gave you clarity. Clarity is dangerous to people who manipulate. Once you see the truth clearly, you stop giving power to those who want to misuse it. Their plan was seamless until you stopped giving them access to your mind. Your clarity became the turning point they feared most. People who plot often forget one rule of life. A quiet mind sees deeper than a loud voice. When the noise from their plan faded, the truth rose. You began noticing details they hoped you would miss. Their tone, their timing, their reactions. Everything they tried to hide became visible. This awareness didn't come from anger. It came from calm observation. That was the trick. Awareness. Understanding. Insight. Once you saw the full picture, their confidence collapsed. A plan that relies on deception falls apart the moment truth enters the room. Every move they made after your shift exposed another weakness. They tried to regain control by acting unaffected. They tried to appear confident. They tried to maintain the story. But behavior cannot hide insecurity. Their reactions grew inconsistent. Their tone grew rigid. Their lies grew sloppy. That unraveling wasn't caused by you attacking them. It was caused by them losing the illusion of control. The trick that scared them was the realization that the person they underestimated could see through every layer of their plan without ever raising their voice. The moment you stopped arguing for your worth, people around you started noticing who was real and who was pretending. Their plan depended not just on fooling you, but on fooling others. Your calmness made observers question everything the planners had said. Their manipulative confidence stopped looking strong and started looking suspicious. Your steadiness made their panic obvious. This is why one simple move shifted the entire narrative. Calmness is contagious. It makes the truth easier to see. Their plan looked seamless until your calm exposed every crack. The shift became permanent when you chose growth instead of retaliation. People who manipulate always fear the target evolving. Evolution means their tricks no longer work. Growth means their leverage disappears. Your decision to move forward instead of fighting backward was the trick that ended everything. Not because it hurt them physically or verbally, but because it showed you were no longer someone they could use. Growth closes doors they once walked through with ease. Growth removes access they depended on. Growth is the trick they never see coming. Strength began showing the moment emotion stopped leading every reaction. Before that shift, every insult, every rumor, every small disrespect felt like a wound that needed immediate attention. Emotion demanded responses that drained your energy and made the situation worse. But something changed in you. Instead of letting feelings explode outward, you started letting them settle first. That settling created clarity. Clarity created control. Someone who responds with control becomes dangerous to anyone who relies on emotional chaos. The switch wasn't dramatic. It happened quietly. You started seeing that reacting quickly only empowered the ones stirring the conflict. Responding with strength meant understanding the moment fully before saying a single word. That alone changed everything. Strength showed up in how you saved your energy for what actually mattered. Emotional reactions used to make you tired because every problem felt urgent. Once you stopped handing out emotional responses for free, life started feeling lighter. People who expected breakdowns or confrontations didn't know what to do with this version of you. They poked for reactions and got calmness. They tried to push buttons and found nothing to latch onto. That calmness was not emptiness. It was self-control. It showed that you had learned where to give your attention and where to withdraw it. Responding with strength meant refusing to be dragged into battles you didn't need to fight. Strength grew each time you chose peace over proving a point. Proving yourself used to feel necessary because you wanted to be understood. But emotional explanations often make things worse, especially in the hands of people who twist your words. Strength meant accepting that not everyone deserves an explanation. Not everyone deserves your side of the story. Some situations resolve themselves when the mature one steps back. That step back created space for the truth to reveal itself naturally. Strength is knowing when to speak and when silence carries more impact. Emotional reactions blur the truth. Calmness sharpens it. Strength became your new language when you started choosing long-term peace over short-term satisfaction. Emotional responses might feel good in the moment, but they often leave regrets behind. Acting from strength means taking a second to ask yourself what outcome you want, not what feeling you want someone else to feel. People who once controlled your emotions lost access because you no longer reacted out of hurt. You acted out of intention. That intentional behavior exposed manipulation in real time. While they were trying to trigger feelings, you were focused on protecting your well-being. That kind of focus cannot be controlled. Strength showed up in how you handled disappointment. Instead of breaking down every time someone revealed their true colors, you accepted it faster. Emotional responses used to make you cling to situations that were already dead. Strength made you leave the moment you saw the truth. No begging, no bargaining, no trying to fix what was not yours to fix. Walking away with dignity became your new instinct. People who expected to trap you with mixed signals or guilt trips realized nothing worked anymore. Once strength replaces emotion, manipulation stops being effective. Strength transformed your communication. Emotional replies often turn simple issues into bigger arguments. But responding with strength changed the tone of every conversation. You started speaking clearly instead of defensively. You stopped oversharing. You stopped trying to convince anyone of your worth. You started setting boundaries calmly instead of angrily. Boundaries sound different when they come from strength. They're respected more. They're clearer. They don't beg, they state. And once your communication evolved, many conflicts dissolved before they even started. Strength influenced your choices too. Emotional decisions are impulsive. They chase comfort. They avoid discomfort. But decisions made from strength are cleaner. You started choosing environments that matched your growth. People who drained you lost access. Situations that once overwhelmed you became easier to manage. You picked peace over popularity. You picked honesty over attention. You picked distance over conflict. Strength simplified your life. Emotion complicated it. People noticed the shift because your actions became consistent and grounded. Strength is consistency. Emotion is chaos. Strength also changed your self-worth. Emotional hurt used to convince you that something was wrong with you. Strength helped you see the difference between your value and someone else's behavior. You stopped accepting treatment that didn't match your standards. You stopped taking things personally. You stopped allowing people to define your identity based on how they felt that day. Strength taught you that respect begins with how you treat yourself. The more you respected yourself, the less room there was for disrespect from others. Emotional dependence ended. Emotional clarity began. Strength reshaped the way people approached you. Emotional reactions used to attract manipulators because they saw an easy target. Once strength took over, those same people became uncomfortable. They realized they couldn't control your mood. They couldn't guilt you. They couldn't push you. They couldn't confuse you. Your grounded responses exposed their intentions without you needing to accuse them. They felt seen, and when a manipulator feels seen, they panic. Strength has a way of showing people who they are without saying a word. Protecting your heart without hardening it starts with understanding that shutting down emotionally isn't strength. Many people try to cope by building walls so high that nothing can touch them, but that kind of defense blocks love, growth, and connection too. You learned a different way. You stopped letting pain make you bitter. You stopped letting betrayal convince you that everyone is dangerous. Instead of closing your heart, you learned to open it carefully. You chose to feel without letting feelings control you. That balance helped you heal in a deeper way. It allowed you to care without collapsing, to love without losing your identity, and to stay soft without becoming vulnerable to the wrong people. Protecting your heart became a skill, not a shutdown. Lessons from hurt taught you where to place your emotions. Not everyone deserves the same version of your vulnerability. Some people handle your softness with care, while others use it against you. Learning who is safe and who is not became the key to protecting your heart. You didn't become cold. You became selective. You stopped giving access to people who handled your feelings carelessly. You started opening up slowly, observing how someone treated the small pieces before trusting them with the bigger ones. That shift protected your heart without turning it to stone. It taught you to give with intention instead of fear, and to receive with discernment instead of desperation. Healing made you realize your heart is not something to hide, it's something to manage. Strength doesn't come from pretending not to care. It comes from caring wisely. The heart breaks when it loves too quickly, attaches too fast, or hopes blindly. You learned how to slow down, how to listen to your intuition, how to let people earn their space. Instead of throwing your heart into situations unprepared, you started letting actions guide your trust. This made your heart safer without making it silent. It helped you stay compassionate without being consumed. This is the difference between protection and avoidance. You chose protection. A softer heart guided by wisdom can see danger faster than a hardened heart blinded by fear. Hardening yourself only numbs you. Protection trains you. You began noticing red flags earlier, spotting manipulation sooner, and sensing inconsistency instantly because your heart wasn't desperate anymore. It wasn't seeking validation from the wrong places. That emotional clarity made you sharper. It allowed you to walk away at the first sign of disrespect instead of waiting for someone to prove you right. You didn't stop feeling. You stopped ignoring what you felt. That's how your heart stayed open but protected. There came a point where you realized closing off your emotions was just another form of self-punishment. You deserved connection. You deserved depth. You deserved real love. Hardening yourself would have denied those things. Protecting your heart meant choosing smarter connections, not fewer connections. It meant letting people show you who they are without rushing to label them. It meant giving chances with boundaries instead of giving chances with blind hope. That shift changed everything. Your heart stayed warm, but your mind stayed alert, a rare combination that very few people manage to build. Being protective, not hardened, helped you stay human through everything. Coldness makes people lose themselves. Protection makes them find themselves. You learn to express emotions at the right time, to the right person, in the right amount. That level of emotional intelligence grows from pain, patience and self-respect. Others saw the difference. They saw a version of you who no longer broke easily, but also didn't become cruel. That balance intimidated people who wanted to control your emotions.